Hands up if you're busy and you never really have time to plan a road trip before you start it. Or hands up if you just plain hate planning road trips or don't really know what you're doing and are always a little bit anxious that you've missed something, or you've tried to cram too much in, or you've just plain got it wrong. I know I am. I'm actually right now on my way up to Iceland and I haven't got a freaking clue what I'm doing when I get there. Actually, that's not true. I know what I'm doing on day one. I do not know what I'm doing after that. I haven't planned it. Now, I know some people will be like, well, don't plan it. Just wander and wing it and just see how you go. Yeah, right. That's all great and everything. But what if you miss something amazing that was just off down a side street and you didn't know it was there and you missed it? That's happened to me a couple of times on my travels around the UK and Europe, and I'm still a little bit bitter about the fact that I have to go back to places because I've missed something incredible that I didn't know was there, and if I'd just done 5 minutes of research, I would have found out about it. Now this video is kind of split into two parts and you can choose your own adventure. If you'd like to hear more about how I plan my road trips and the epic new way that I've found to make it so easy, I can't wait to share it with you, then just keep watching. But if you'd like to skip ahead and just see incredible views of Iceland and my first few days in the country, then the timestamps are below in the notes for you and you can just skip ahead to enjoy those. So I like to do, I've got a fly that's just decided he loves me. I like to do what I call basic planning. So I don't plan my routes and I don't plan my stops unless they're somewhere specific, like if you're going to go to Euro Disney or something, you want to book that campsite. But I don't plan them on as a general rule. What I plan are the places I want to see. So the research that I do is about places, not necessarily about routes and roads. That comes later in the process. So the first thing that I do is I look to see what there is to do, things that I can do, places to visit, and I do that in a number of ways. The best way is to find a blog or a YouTube video, but I prefer a blog of somebody who's been there and done it. So you could look up blogs like little one I found called Wandering Bird. They've been all sorts of places and got some amazing road trip itineraries. The other place I like to look is Instagram. So if you type in like Iceland into Instagram, you will find pictures of all these incredible places. And then Pinterest is another one as well. Pinterest is really helpful to be able to find places. But all of that takes time. It might only take an hour, but if you're busy and you're rushing around, you're trying to get your van sorted and doing all the things, you might not have time to do that before you go. What if we can make it quick? So I've got my little laptop here and we are going to type it into Chat GPT and see if Chat GPT can plan my Icelandic road trip for me. So for those of you who have not used Chat GPT before, you go to chat.openai.com. I suggest using a laptop or a desktop for that, and you have to fill in your details, your email address, or you can sign in with your Google account, and then you will end up with a screen that looks a little bit like this. So let's start by typing in just a basic question about our trip. So tell me the 10 best places to stop between the lagoon and Egil. I think it's 2 S's. Oh, Egilsstaðir. I haven't even mentioned Iceland. There we go. It's figured out that I mean Iceland. Diamond Beach, yeah, heard of that. Hoffen, heard of that too. So it's given me, without any research whatsoever, some places. Now, of course, you have to have an element of travelling with a motorhome or a camper van. It doesn't know that. In fact, let's ask it. Can I reach all these places with a motorhome? Wow. Okay, that's going so fast that I can't even read it. I'm going to let it stop generating and then I'll go back through and read it. Now, it's really, really important to remember that ChatGPT is not infallible. It's not gospel. It can and it has made mistakes. So you must do your own research on top of this. This is just a place to start. Please don't just follow this blindly. It's not gospel. So the next thing is, can you show me these places on a map? It's thinking. Okay, so it can't show you them on a map. Fair enough. Can you give the coordinates for all the places listed above. I didn't think that was going to work. Oh wow, so you could literally just copy that and put that into your sat nav or into your Google map or whatever, and then create a little itinerary from there. I might plot these on a map. So there you go, I've just really quickly plotted those places onto a map, and I've just literally put the places that it's recommended on there. So this is Seyðisfjörður, which is where I get in on the ferry, and then I'm going to be driving down to the Glacier Lagoon, which is also where Diamond Beach is. It's right next to it. And then I've got about 2 days. I've got a day to drive down there, which should be doable. And then I've got about 2 days to work my way back and see stuff. So I've put all the different places on there. And all I need to now is go and visit them. What else do I want? Right, I've got 2 days. So can I visit all of the above places in just 2 days? Right, so basically I can't see all of the above places in 2 days, not a problem. So let's ask it to give me a rough idea. Can you create an itinerary of the places above for just 2 days? Make the best decision on what to include and what to leave out. Here we go. So it suggests, taking the research that I've done from this and the bits that are interesting to me, it suggests that I start at the Diamond Beach, which I'm going to because that's where the Glacier Lagoon is. Go to the Viking village, then go to Hengifoss waterfall, and then spend the night at Djúpivogur. I'm really sorry if you speak Icelandic. And then go from there, go to Egilsstaðir and go stopping at the fjord village. Now, I'm not too fussed about going around the town of Egilsstaðir, so I'll probably find something else to do. I might go up to the puffin colony and see where that is. That would be quite interesting to do. So what do you reckon? Feeling brave? Shall we give this a go? Let's skip to Iceland. I'm in Iceland. So we arrived here yesterday, got off the ferry at Seyðisfjörður, and then from there I drove south for supposed to be about 3 hours. Actually took me about 8 because I kept stopping to take photographs and like get the drone out, and it was just absolutely incredible. So I've driven almost all the way to the Glacier Lagoon. On the way I stopped at Egilsstaðir. I'm sorry to anyone who speaks Icelandic, I'm totally going to butcher these names. Feel free to correct me in the comments so that we can all learn. But Egilsstaðir is like the main town that you hit when you come off the ferry. So that was where you go to. They've got a big netto there with amazing caramel donuts. And then I filled up at the netto along with every other motorhome and camper van that came off the ferry, because obviously your fridge has been off for 2 days, so you haven't got any fresh food on board. So I went into Egilsstaðir, which seemed like a nice town. It just seemed like a fairly basic town with supermarkets and restaurants and stuff. So I just saw it as I was driving through, stopped at the netto, stocked up, and then I started heading south. Big tip. Big tip. I kind of came off the Route 1 and just followed my phone because I was using that as a sat nav rather than my actual sat nav, and it decided to take me down a road called the 939, which is a gravel road. Don't do it. Don't do it. I've been told some gravel roads are fine for the motorhomes. If you go slowly, do not drive the 939 if you are not in a four-wheel drive. As an introduction to Icelandic gravel roads, it was terrifying. And don't get me wrong, there were some scenic bits in there, and there was a nice waterfall. It was terrifying. Crossfield and I were genuinely worried for a while that we wouldn't make it out. Where is Crossfield? Oh, he's there. Here's Crossfield. Right, but we are here, we are done. So last night I actually took a second place off my list because I stayed at some place called the Viking Cafe, which does amazing waffles. And I stayed there. They've got like a motorhome parking bit next to the cafe, and that is the exact same place that the Viking Village was. I hate to break your heart, but the Viking Village was a film set or a movie set that they used for a series or a movie or whatever it was. And it's seen better days. I think if I'd driven all of that way to go and see the Viking village, I would have been really, really disappointed. As it turns out, if you stay there overnight next to the Viking cafe, you actually get entrance into the park, which includes the Viking village, this amazing black sand beach, and the lighthouse. Although the lighthouse, it was so foggy or misty, one of the two, that you couldn't actually see any of it. But I got to see a bit of the beach, and I got to see around the village, which was, yeah, it was okay. Don't drive out of your way for it. So now I'm kind of in Hoffen, that's where the campsite is, but I've got up really early because I am on the very first rib ride of the Glacier Lagoon, and I decided to go for the very first one of the day, and also for the rib boat, so that you can get closer to the glacier. And if you go for the first one of the day, there's nobody else out there with you, which is amazing. So just you, and I think they take 2 boats out at a time, so just you and the other boat. But also, if I went early in the day, there will be space to park the motorhome, because I'm always a little bit worried about how much space there is for parking. So booking the first one of the day, generally the car park will be a little bit quieter. So that's what we're going to do first, and then going to walk down to a Diamond Beach, which is literally down the road from the Glacier Lagoon, and then we will see what ChatGPT says to do next. I'm excited. I found the glacier.
What can I do to make you mine? Just look my way, I see you try to be cool, but it's not you. I'm the one that you want. So try me, babe. Watching from afar, wishing upon a star. If you could only see what I see. Everything can feel this way on my own. You see it too. I'll go ahead, keeping on. I won't fold. Open up and take me in. Don't be so cold. Watching from afar, wishing upon a star. If you could only see what I see. Trying to open up your.
Oh my goodness, that was amazing. The rib ride was cold. If you're going, wrap up warm. Like, this is a thermal top, and I had a coat and I had a fleece underneath that, and like a scarf and a hat. It was still quite chilly, but absolutely incredible to be able to see it and get that close to the ice. And it was really foggy on the Diamond Beach, but then I had a crepe, really expensive but really good, and the fog cleared, so I was actually able to get some cool shots of the ice on the Diamond Beach and everything, and that was epic. It was just, I've never seen anything like it. And what's so amazing is that entire glacier is on top of a volcano. Like, talk about a land of fire and ice. Nuts, absolutely nuts, but incredible, absolutely worth doing. Really amazing way to start my Iceland trip. So next on the ChatGPT itinerary is Djupivoga campsite. And that's a suggested spot to stay for this evening, so I'm going to drive there. According to the sat nav, it will take about 2.5 hours. I am already beginning to not believe that, so I reckon it'll take me a lot longer than that, especially if I keep stopping for photos and videos, but that's part of the fun of being here. So it's already early afternoon here. I'm going to get going and make sure I can get there before a decent time so I can get there for dinner. But so far, this is going remarkably well. So I actually ended up spending 2 nights at that campsite because I felt a bit unwell yesterday. I don't know whether it's because of being out on the rib, it just made me feel a bit funny, or just all the travelling. But I just took a day for myself just to chill out and enjoy the adventure rather than go every day, because that is quite exhausting. But today I'm really excited for today. So today on the itinerary there were 2 waterfalls. One is one called Gilsafoss, and one is a big one that I found in some other research that I've done called Hengifoss. And they both look different and quite exciting. So I'm going to go to Gilsafoss first and then Hengifoss. And then we're going to go up to the final campsite that Chat GPT recommends for this 2-day part of my adventure. And we'll see what that one's like. Found a waterfall!
Go. 3:20 in the morning. And there is the sun.
So what do you think? I have to say, I was really impressed. Given how little information I gave it and how quickly it came back with that itinerary, to give that kind of structure that has worked remarkably well for the past 2 days, I have been really impressed. Now, of course, I highly recommend you do your own research. And when it does come back with the list of places, I looked them all up. And that was when I was like, right, I'm going to disregard that place. I'm not really that interested in that. Or, oh no, that sounds amazing. And in the process of doing that research, you might find other places that you want to add in, but it's an amazing starting point. If you don't have time to spend hours doing research for your trips, you could absolutely start with ChatGPT and use that as a base point to do your research from after that. Alternatively, you can just buy my Iceland road trip itinerary, the link for which will be in the notes. Right, I hope you found that useful. Let me know if you try ChatGPT for your own adventures, or if it's given you any ideas on how you can best use it. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!